Lawin Media Network.
Bringing to you the most relevant content across all platforms.
Business, legal, politics, health, lifestyle, and entertainment.
Your source for all the news and updates in the greater Houston community, from Texas and all over the world.
Get informed and empowered with Lawin Media Network.
The following program is produced by Lawin Media Network. The views and opinions expressed in this program are solely those of the individuals appearing on the show and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of Lawin Media Network, its affiliates, sponsors, or partners. The content provided in this program is intended for informational and entertainment purposes only.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the second episode of our show, Be Bold.
Why not?
This is MJ,
And this is Atala.
and our show is brought to you by Lawin Media Network. And of course, you're watching us on YouTube Live, Facebook Live, and
Stream.lawin.live.
all right, magandang gabi to all those in the Philippines.
And bonjour, ça va? Bienvenue. Sí, y esperamos que todos se encuentren muy bien con nosotros esta noche.
All right. Good evening, Atala. How are you
Nice to see
tonight?
you again. I was looking forward to, obviously, to just kind of spend this time with you.
I know, me too. It's been over a week, right?
I'm just
Yeah.
flies.
Yes. How was your week?
It was really nice. It was calm Saturday, a little bit busy on Sunday, but everything went very well. I really enjoyed it. Sometimes you have to take time for yourself, pause a little bit to charge energy for the next week.
I know, me too. It's always busy on the weekend because as a mom and of course as a wife, we have a lot of other things that we're doing, and as a member of a lot of other community partners out there, we have things that we got to do. And tonight is quite interesting.
I love our topic because I think almost everybody relate with this topic. Would you like to talk a little bit about tonight?
Of course. But first, we want to invite you, all our viewers, be ready because we're going to have a really nice surprise for each of you. For all of those who are able to stay with us for the evening, you will have a surprise if you'll be able to answer 2 of our questions tonight. So pay attention. You have to watch and really listen because based on our conversations, we're going to have some questions and we're going to have a little bit of a surprise.
We will talk more a little bit in a minute. But I wanted to ask you something. I think the topic of today is very, very important because we're going to be actually discovering the challenges that we all face in relationships, before the marriage and also during the marriage life. So I wanted to ask you something. We are trying to really kind of get to know even more about ourselves because that's important, that's evolution. But can I tell you something? I think relationship can be beautiful, but I do believe also the first relation that we have to always nurture, cultivate is the relationship that we have with ourselves. What do you think about that?
Oh, I totally understand. Yeah, that I can relate because you know how they say you have to love yourself first, right? Because if you love yourself, you have something to give. So you have to learn who you are. You have to really know your wants, your needs, your desires. Because based on those things, then you'll be able to realize or know what you want from other people too.
So true.
That's right. So you self-learn. It's very important. You learn yourself first, then you'll be able to create a better relationship with other people. So, but it sounds serious, right? Because we're talking about relationships and marriage and all that, but we want to have fun tonight. So we're not just gonna talk about serious stuff, but we're gonna go back a little bit. Of course,
I'm to share with you whatever you want me to share. You know, I'm like I think that sometimes we have to really be just who we are.
yes,
We evolve over the years, you know, but before getting married, you always have this kind of mentality, you know, like you have certain characteristics that you're looking in a person. Sometimes you just go with the, you know, like I fall in love, and that's the emotion side, right? Which is fine. We all go through that process. But sometimes we have to also like understand that we change over the years. Maybe you fall in love with somebody at that moment when you were 19 years old. Maybe you got married when you were 22. You were very young, you know. You were not even like honestly, like maybe exposed to so many other things in life. So that's what is very important. I always believe that you have to embrace your present. You have to also get to know more who you are. In that way, it's going to be a little bit easier, you know,
to find your partner.
Exactly.
That's right. So, talking about that, we would want to know, Atala's, like, what were you looking for when you were younger, like in a man?
Okay.
What are the characteristics that actually like attracted you, or just had in your mind that you were envisioning the man that you're gonna be with?
I will tell you. Yeah. You know, to me, of course, we always like physical attraction, which I think is real. In that moment when you're younger, you know, you're looking for somebody handsome, you know, interesting, funny, which some of the characteristics I'm still looking, because remember, I'm divorced. But at that moment, I think it was just, you know, the connection, the instant connection, the, you know, having fun, deep conversations. But sometimes, can I tell you, like, I learned something. Even though you are like maybe 22, 23, 24, it's important to also look how is that person related, how the person relates with his family, for example. You know, what are his values? I mean, the cultural sensitivity is very important because sometimes we ignore that. I remember somebody told me, my ex-husband is from the United States, and I was living in Mexico by then. So say, are you sure you guys are going to be compatible? Because living or not, two different cultures. And guess what I say? Of course, no big deal, no problem, you know? Because I really believe you can make the best of two worlds, but you have to be mature. Because, you know, little things can make a big problem. You can make a big problem and create division, right?
Yes, yes.
But I think that I was looking for that person, you know, attractive. I mean, interesting for me, with good heart, of course, you know, with values. And sometimes I think that you have all those things, but again, it's important to look the background and the bit of that person too. That way you can connect better. And values and family is important. You don't get married just with that person, you get married with a family.
That's right, that's right.
What about you?
Well, to me, you know, I grew up with a person in my mind that a responsible one. You know, responsibility is very important because, you know, there are men out there. I mean, they have all the titles, they may be professionals and all that, but they grew up like depending on other people, right? So having a relationship or going into a serious relationship that you think that man will be your partner for the rest of your life, you have to make sure that they're responsible, because they're not only going to be taking care of you, but in the future, once you have a family, then they have to take care of the whole family. So a man should be responsible. Of course, I like good looks too. Just you said, you know, physical attraction is real. I mean, it's like, yeah, of course, you want someone that you are envisioning to create a beautiful family. So like you want to have beautiful children, and you want to have a, you know.
Very well. I mean, I'm so agree with you, but it changed over the years. Because you know what, I think that some characteristics I was looking, I don't look anymore. Of course, you know, I think I learned my lesson for say something. No, but it's just like you change over the years. You become, I think, more wise, you know, what the important things in life, the ones that they are really, really fundamental, that they make you happier, you know, that. And also at the same time, you have to work in yourself, because once you work in yourself, you can give the best to that person too. It's not just about asking. You have to become that person, that woman, that man. In that way, when you feel more complete, more satisfied with yourself, you know, you're going to be able to appreciate the other person, but the other person is going to see your beauty too. Different kind of perspective, you know?
That is right. Because a relationship is a two-way. It's a two-way traffic. It can't be that you have your thoughts of a good man or an ideal person, but you yourself, you're not presenting the best of you. So in a relationship, for it to work, it has to be both ways. You know, you have.
I agree with you.
Yes, it has to be both ways. Sometimes we are too selfish that we only think of ourselves and we're only looking for that person from the other person for those characteristics, but we're not mindful of how we are actually presenting ourselves. So it's a win-win if you are in this relationship together, not just you expecting the other person to be good, to be kind to you, and you're not acting the best of your abilities.
Can I tell you something that I have found? Like, for example, when I'm coaching somebody in relationships, I see many times women and also men, they want to find somebody, but they don't believe that they can find somebody who is a healthy person, you know. So they decide to stay in a relationship in where it's toxic actually. I'm sorry, in where they don't really kind of see how they can, you know, embrace that new relationship with the credibility that it can be better, it can be healthier, and that they deserve that. So they decide to stay. They are not happy, you know. They feel like it's taking away their energy, their focus, their productivity, but they feel like they are trapped. So I believe that once that you start really working again in yourself, that will allow you to make better decisions in relationships, because relationships are beautiful. I believe in marriage, but you must also work in yourself to give yourself to you and to the other person.
So Atala, at what point in your because we usually have this kind of relationships when, like, in young adulthood, right? When we become professional, or when we even people like in college, they already know who the person they want to be with for the rest of their lives. But at what point in your life did you say that, oh, this is a person I'm gonna marry?
I remember my family used to say, you know, you always say you wanna marry the African American person. So I guess when I was very young, I even didn't remember that, and I got married with an African American person. So I think sometimes you have this kind of idea or ideal person, you know, and you're still working on that. You visualize, and then life brings you the person, because maybe you are creating that kind of also, you know, vision, energy, you know, all those things. So I think it was maybe like 19 years old when I got married when I was 27. So I would tell you, I was never like going out with a lot of people. I used to have a lot of friends, even until now. But again, you start really changing and becoming more attracted to the opposite sex. So then you start really see like, wow, there is attraction, you know. And then you start really see more that person, you know, with your heart, with your mind. But I will tell you something, it has to be a balance. Synchronicity. It's not just the mind, it's the heart, and even the spirit, because it's the perfect balance now, I could tell you.
Yeah, because I know people, they always say, when the heart dominates the mind, then that's when we lose ourselves over love.
It's true.
That's why they say that you have to use both. Yeah, that's what you said. There has to be balance. You have to use your mind and your heart. Because also, if you use just your mind and you're just so focused on what you can see, right? But if you use your heart too, you also have to balance that, what you can see of the person and what you can feel. So it's both mind and heart that we have to consider when actually we're trying to decide if this person is the right one for us. Although at that moment, you see that that person might be the right person, right? Because there are relationships out there that they last forever and it seems that they are going well. And then all of a sudden, what happened to the relationship?
It's true. That's exactly what happened to me. I will tell you, you know.
Yeah.
You have a vision. And also, you have to consider your beliefs. Your beliefs I mean, are super important, you know. I grew up in a family also where, you know, you get married forever, but suddenly you have a relationship in where it's a beautiful relationship and something suddenly changed. So there is that friction. Should I keep going? Should I go? I mean, maybe therapy, counseling, and you have to be very bold, very bold to really kind of say, you know what, I want to work through, but also I need to work through, I mean, my belief system, my desires, you know, how I really feel in this relationship. And I always think that relationships, again, you know, when you are dating is one thing, when you're in a marriage relationship, it's something else, but both can be beautiful. But we need to work.
Yeah, and we'll talk more about that because we should go on a break pretty soon, or are we?
We can just
yeah. So actually, we're gonna ask. Okay. All right. We have a question from one of our viewers, Shell. How do you say her name? Shell de Seco. Hi. Thank you for watching us. How do I join the game of the show? What are the prizes? Well, as we have said earlier, we're gonna ask you a question before or after we come after a break. We're going to ask the question, and if you were listening in our conversation, then you should be able to answer that. So just type in your answer to the question, and the first person that will be able to answer that correctly will get a prize. It's a surprise prize. Yeah. So also we have some comments.
Hi. We would like to know also any person who has a question, feel free to share with us. We will be happy to answer. I think that we want to invite you to just feel free. That's important. Vulnerability is important in this program, you know, to be bold, to ask anything that it crosses your mind, because maybe we have an answer, maybe not, but guess what? We can figure out together.
Actually, we had a comment. I think Eileen Ligot-Dizon said, hello, MJ and Atala. Thank you so much, Eileen. And yes, we're going to go for a break and we'll be back. And when we come back, we're going to ask the first question. So stay tuned. All right, we're back. Welcome back to the show. Oh my gosh, I didn't even realize that we already passed that, like,
you know, when you're
1/3 of the show.
We always say that when we're having fun, time really flies. But let's go back to our topic, which I think is very, very important. So now I wanted to ask you something. What was the...
Before that, we're going to have to ask the question. Yeah, because as we said, we're going to ask the question or when we come back, right? And for you to answer it, just put it in the comment, all right? Whatever your answer, just put it in the comment. And the question is, what are the characteristics of Atala's ideal man? So if you were listening and you were watching, in the past. And if you were listening or watching, you'll be able to answer that. So just put it in the comment section, okay? And then we will reveal the winners at the end of the show, all right? So yeah, we can continue, Atala.
I have a curiosity, you know? So when did you get married? How did you get married? What was what's I could say the fundamental characteristics that you were looking, and why did you say yes to your husband?
Well, I think you need to know first how I met my husband.
Of course, I would love to.
Okay, well, I met my husband, I think it was back I just graduated from college because that was like 1990s. I'm not going to give a clue how old I am, but anyhow, it was 1990s. I graduated from college. I met him through his cousin. And I met him, he lives in Mandaluyong City, but it's outside of Mandaluyong, okay? Not inside.
How do you
There's a joke in the Philippines about that.
How do you pronounce Mandaluyong?
Mandaluyong.
Mandaluyong.
Yeah, Mandaluyong City. That's where I met him. And then it was actually like, I don't know, when you connect with a person, you know, like just when you look straight in the eye, you feel something.
What do you feel, if I can know?
I don't know, just my heart just the love dub. No, just, anyway, yeah, I met him about that year. I don't want to say what year we got married and all that, but we were in that relationship for about maybe almost 4 years before we actually got married, and it was a bit rough in the beginning because, as you said, you know, there's a lot of challenges, and he's a Manila boy, and I came from the province, and you know, like the country, we call it the country here, like far flung. Oh, it's not far flung, but I come from the northern part of the country, and he's from Manila, so there's already that difference in culture too, because you know the Philippines is very regionalistic. Yeah, different regions have different norms or different practices, different views. You know, they have different characteristics. So that alone, being from very distant places, you got to adapt and adjust to their norms, their ways, and all that. And we from the provinces, we were thought to be like, we're timid and shy, or like the city people or city boy, you know, they always call them the city people, kind of look at us like we're not at par or something like that. But anyhow, it's a little bit of adjustment just with the difference in the culture, because as I said,
what was one of the challenges that you faced at that moment? Do you remember?
First off, I'm older. I'm older than my husband, only less than 2 years.
That's
but
nothing.
As they say, women mature.
Yes.
You know,
I agree with that.
Yeah, women mature better or faster or quicker, something like that. So I was already older enough, and then my maturity was a little bit higher too. So I'm not saying my husband is immature, but there's that difference in age. So there's a little bit of a challenge. It's not that far of a difference in age, but also I was already a graduate. You know, I was already a nurse, so my husband was still a student. So I had to help him a little bit with some of his, you know, work and school stuff and all that. And then I was also living in one of my relatives' place. So it's just that we have to adjust and know each other. Because in the beginning of the relationship, it's knowing each other. It's a little bit of a challenge because we try to appear like we're good, right? Because we're trying to impress each other, so we're trying to behave the best that we can.
I love what you say, because it's so true.
It's true.
You try to impress, and guess what I have found out? When you try to impress someone, you're losing your identity. Because there's going to be a point in where you cannot continue just saying yes to everything. So you become that person that become like a shadow without even the intention. So it's very important, you know, be yourself. Don't try to always please. Don't try to always say yes, because you know you're gonna be losing yourself in the middle of that kind of relationship without even notice.
Yeah, and that's very true. And it's not just when you are in a relationship like a man-woman relationship that you have that kind of a challenge. Because even in like friendships, sometimes you try to please everybody just because you want to be accepted, you want to be in, you want to feel you belong, you want to. So you try to like go with the flow, and you're losing your own identity. And just like what you said.
I would like to ask the audience if they have any comments, because maybe they related with this. You know, maybe you're in a relationship where you're trying to please always your boyfriend or your girlfriend.
Or your friend.
That's not the way it should be, you know, because we have our own identity.
Yeah,
we should learn when to say no, when to say yes, when to speak out, you know, and truly share with boldness, you know, this is what I want, or this is what I deserve. One word of this.
Okay, so I think we have some comments. Can we see some comments from the audience? Oh, there. Oh my gosh, Jewel Bacani, thank you so much. She said, watching here in the Philippines, can I join the game? Of course. Everybody can join the game. Okay, so if you're watching, The answer. Oh, she answered. Okay. Yeah. Well, we'll announce that later. But there, she got the clue. She got it right.
So,
Anyway, yes. Anyone, wherever you are in the Philippines, in Houston, in Las Vegas, or Mexico, anywhere in the world, if you're watching, yes, you can join the game. All right. So as we were talking, yes, it's not just in man-woman relationship that when sometimes we lose our own identity, because we go through that stage too, and it's hard because you're trying to belong,
that's right. Yes.
and then in a relationship too, you're trying to stay in the relationship, so you're trying to behave in the way that you even sometimes sacrifice your own desire or yourself.
Yes. And
Yeah.
also, I think that when I'm talking about being bold, as a woman, you have to get to know yourself at the point and say, this is what I really want. This is not because it's not happening, not because you don't have it at the moment. That doesn't mean that you cannot create it or you cannot have that person. Sometimes patience is important because you've ended with the first relationship, then maybe it's not the man or the woman that you want. So
Yes.
I think that's very important. And
Mhm.
something else that is important is that sometimes maybe you're going to be confused because it's easy to get confused, with feelings, the emotions, that moments. However, pausing is important because in that, silence, also you can center yourself, listen to yourself, what do you really want, and honor that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's very important because it's you. At the end of the day, you're the one going into that relationship. So you have all the right to find out about this person, to learn to get to know that person. Not only that person, but everybody around him or that surrounds him, his family, his friends. You know, you're right. When you are in a serious relationship, you're not only loving that person, that you have to learn to love.
Yes, very important.
Yes.
Extremely important. Red flags.
Although
Look for the red flags too.
although in the relationship, once you're married though, as God said, he's the center, right? And he's marrying these two people, and then you leave your family. So once you get to that, then your focus will be your family. But while you're getting to know that person, you have to get to know everybody, his co-workers, his friends, his family, his cousins, relatives, everybody.
And how he treat
Yeah.
people in general, because that's important. Even when you go to a restaurant, how did he treated the waitress? That he's kind, compassionate, he's kind of prepotent, arrogant. You have to look all these things because we don't change. We can evolve, yes, but there are certain characteristics,
Yes.
certain personalities that they're not gonna change. Not
That's
because
right.
of you.
Mhm.
It's wrong when we think like we're gonna change this person. We never change somebody else. Sometimes it's difficult to change ourselves. So
Yeah, let alone changing other people. That's why, remember in our last episode or in our first episode, acceptance is also the key. Because yeah, we have all those ideal man characteristics in our mind that we're looking for, but there's nobody who's perfect. You're not gonna get that ideal man that you've always like you desire, because nobody's perfect. So you just have to accept the person. You just have to accept that you're in this relationship, so you have to be prepared. You have to be prepared for the good and the bad, because there's no perfect relationship.
and also I think that we have to also keep in a balance again. Some things that are worth it to fight for. Some others they are not. Looking at the priorities, what keeps you at peace, what keeps you energized, what makes you happy, how do you can practically negotiate some things, because in reality sometimes people fight for no reason. If you think about it, sometimes little things we make it bigger and bigger, so then there is division. You don't want to connect anymore with that person, you don't want to go back home, and you start creating this kind of turmoil in your mind and in your heart. So always communication. Try to be bold to communicate your emotions, your feelings, your thoughts.
Yeah. And I think we have some more comments from the audience. Let's see them. All right. Lourdes Reggie Ligot. Oh,
That's so
wow.
nice.
Hello, watching here from Sydney, Australia.
Wonderful.
Yay. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Thank you so much. And yes, you were right when you were saying that in the relationship, you have to really be accepting of the weaknesses, also the weaknesses of the person, right? And communication is the key. The person won't know if you have something in your heart that you if you're not going to express it, right? And we're good at that. Women are. We tend to keep silent, and we're just expecting that the men will just decipher or like figure out that something is wrong. But no,
No.
communication is also a key.
And assuming,
Uh-huh.
never assume something.
Mhm.
Always be bold to ask questions, to express yourself. It's like an exercise, when you're exercising, you become, stronger and more resilient, and you feel like you can do everything. The same thing happens with our mind. The more that you start expressing yourself, the easier it's going to be to communicate.
Mhm.
I have seen many cases in where the man or the woman never really share their feelings or their emotions.
Mhm.
You know what happened in those relationships? There is no connection. They
Yeah.
don't know each other. They think they know each other, but they don't know simple things.
Yeah, because the since they've kept inside of them what they have been wanting to express for all those years, and suddenly they explode. Anyway, we're gonna get more into that after another break. Thank you so much.
We will come back. We're back again.
Yes, welcome back. All right. I think we have more comments. So let's see them. Oh my goodness. Diego Maceda, YouTube relationship search brought me here.
That's so nice.
Wow.
Welcome, Diego. Diego,
Yeah.
if you have any questions, any comments,
Uh-huh.
feel free.
Yes, please. And also,
Hi, good morning, watching from Philippines.
yeah, yeah,
Delia,
Ligot. Yeah, Delia Ligot. Thank you so much.
I told me MG today. I promise I'm gonna learn Philippines. I think this is gonna be my target now.
Yeah, so that's a challenge,
Of
right?
course, that's a challenge. At the end of the day, life is about facing the challenges.
Mhm.
I believe that challenges are there for reasons. We
Mhm.
stretch ourselves, our mind, we
Mhm.
find gifts, opportunities, people come into our life. So there's so many ways that we can confront life
Uh-huh.
and challenges with a better and healthier perspective.
That's right. And I remember you said earlier, I just want to segue a little bit, that you said sometimes in a relationship, people rush into them because they think that that's that relationship that they're already looking for. So patience, right? We're talking about patience.
I'm telling you, I've been divorced for so many years. Some people ask me, why are you not married? I can't believe that. I said, you know what? I believe, that's my belief, that when that right person comes, it's going to be everything smooth.
Mhm.
Like there is not going to be no issues, same countries, or everything's going to be aligned. And I believe in God that He has the perfect person for me. But in the meantime, He was preparing me, and I have had beautiful relationships because I've been divorced for many years, MJ. But at the same time, I was a mom. I wanted to be a mom, be dedicated to my son, But I was always keeping a balance, friends, traveling, a lot of different things that made me happy also. Because another important thing here, like you cannot deposit everything in your partner or your husband. You have to have people that is gonna support you in different areas because it's too much it's too much for one person. So that's important. If you want to keep a healthy relationship, you must learn about yourself and also have support groups of friends or family that you can talk about different things.
Yes, yes. That's why it's very, as you said, you don't like devote everything into just one bucket, right?
Yes, so true.
Because you gain or you get strength from different people or from different support groups whenever you're going through some challenges. Because there are things in life that may pertain to just your relationship with your uh, partner, but there are also things in life that you have challenges in relationship with friends, family, relatives, everybody. So loving someone doesn't mean that you have to just pour yourself into that person.
I love what you say because sometimes we think that loving somebody that's mean that you give everything away and you don't you don't keep anything for yourself. Energy, focus, productivity, taking care of your sleep, taking care even your the food that you eat is not only what we eat, it's what we think.
So and then sometimes you even give up your like friends, your family. Some people they do that because they're just so invested into that relationship and they forget or they leave their friends, they leave their families, they sacrifice the other relationships they have in their lives because of that one person. And that is not healthy because when things happen and you're facing something really like strong in your life, then and if that person is failing you give the support, then you won't have anybody to support you. So your relationship is not just with that person, your relationship is with everybody else in your reach.
I honestly think sometimes it's not difficult, but we all can have that kind of experience. I mean, like you fall in love with somebody, you want to spend all the time with that person, you want to call up the person 24 hours, you want to text all day long. Think about what you're doing. You're feeding your mind, you're getting used to this kind of habit of always be connected. So what happened, as you say, when that person is no longer there, that's where
you're lost.
crash. You feel lost. It's like, what am I gonna do now? I don't even know what I like. You start losing your identity, and that's a process that I will tell you is even also beautiful because it's about getting to know yourself again, waking up, go forward with life, finding a strength, inner strength. So it's a growth process, but it's a beautiful process too. But you have to choose the right perspective.
Yeah, we grow. I mean, we fail so we can get back up, right? So in any kind of relationship, husband, wife, friends, relatives, families, they are different levels of relationship. So as long as we're keeping every aspect of these different relationships healthy, I'm not saying that it's perfect. Healthy meaning you're willing to learn from any challenges that come out of these relationships, then we're going to come out stronger. We're going to come out bolder. Now we can face anything and anyone in the world because we have learned so much from these failures in these relationships. Because after all, at the end of the day, we are created to have these relationships. And no man is an island, right? That's a very, very...
And let me tell you something also. I think that you mentioned something important. Relationships, everything. Connections, to me, are beautiful, are powerful. But also the relationship, for example, many times in a marriage also, maybe sometimes you become a super mom and you forget about being a wife. Or you become, like a great and in business, but you are lacking something in your life, in your family. I have seen many leaders, I mean, great businessmen, but they are great in their job, but they are not great at home. So that's also great frustration for the wife because she's not spending time with the family, right?
Mm-hmm.
The same thing happens when you are a mom that you are always spending time with the kids,
Mm-hmm.
but you're forgetting about your husband. So
Yes, there should be a balance. It's not like, as we have been saying, it's in this world that we are revolving. Okay, wait. We have some comments.
Let me just say hello
Okay.
to, yes. Hi, Martha. So happy to connect, that you're connecting with us from Latinas Poderosas. This is a beautiful, beautiful group of Latin women that is so inspirational, motivational, and I would say that I have spent some time with them, coaching them, and it has been beautiful experience.
Yeah, and then we have
connecting.
Yeah, thank you so much. And we have another comment from Lourdes Reggie Ligot de Ganya. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but thank you so much for your comment. She says, I think family plays an important role in every aspect of life, even in choosing our partners. Family is where we learn our first life lessons on relationships, communication, problem solving, emotions, and boundaries.
Love your
Yes.
comment because it's so true.
Very, very true.
Yes.
All right.
definitely.
Yeah. So again, okay, we have more like shout out.
Oh, this is for Martha. Thank you, Martha. Okay, so amazing. I agree with you. You have to take care of yourself first to take care of others. That's definitely. We always
Yes.
talk about that. Self-love is not being selfish. Self-love is necessary for you to be able to give even the best and
Of
more
yourself.
to others. Yes.
The best of yourself. And that's true. Family is the foundation. It's like, when you're growing up, those little kids, girls, boys, when they grow up and they see their parents, they become their model. So when they grow up, they're thinking, oh, I want to marry someone like my dad, or I want to marry someone like my mom. So that's where the parents' responsibility will come. And we're going to talk about that in our next episodes, the challenges of being a parent.
That's a super
Yes.
topic,
Yes.
Kids learn by the example, not by the words that you say, but the
Yes.
actions that you take.
Yeah, so family is a foundation in every relationship. Okay, so question number 1 again. What is Atala's ideal man? So for those of you watching, make sure to put your answers in the comment, okay? And we're going to announce the winner at the end of the show.
Please remember this in the past, not the present.
That's right. And then what's our second question, Atala?
Okay. The second question is, in what city did MJ met her husband?
Okay, if you were listening, that's a very easy question. Come on.
You think so?
There's no excuse for you not to be able to answer that, right? So make sure you put your answers in the comment.
What city did MJ met her husband? Remember.
Yeah, and then we'll go for a break again and we'll be back.
In just a second.
Well, we're
Lawin Media Network.
Bringing to you the most relevant content across all platforms.
Business, legal, politics, health, lifestyle, and entertainment.
Your source for all the news and updates in the greater Houston community, from Texas and all over the world.
Get informed and empowered with Lawin Media Network.
Okay, welcome back. Yeah, we're just having so much fun here. And for those of you watching right now, good, because you're having fun too, right? Hope you're having fun and being entertained and you're learning from our discussions here, because that's our goal. We want to be able to make an impact in your life, whatever you're going through. So that's why tonight we're talking about relationships. So yeah, and tonight I guess we're gonna, for this final segment of the show, we're gonna talk more about marriage now, right?
Well, that's something that I think that would be, we can be just touching a little bit more in detail, Like, for example, MJ, like when you got married, is something changed after you got married? Did you have these kind of expectations and idea, certain kind of characteristics or mindset actually about the marriage that you will be having? And when did start that changing if that happened to you? Because I believe it happened to everyone.
Yes, of course it did. As I said, getting married is not all guns and roses. Oh, sorry, beds and roses. Sorry, guns. Sorry for that. That's a natural humor. It's not all beds and roses, and that's very true, especially in the beginning, as we have said earlier or we have discussed. When you are still in that courtship or is that boyfriend girlfriend relationship, you try to impress each other, right? And then once you get married, that's when you actually get to know the real person. But then if you come prepared in that relationship and know that what you're expecting is not what it is, then you're prepared to actually learn to get to know that person no matter what.
I think that
accepting that person no matter what. Because, yeah, getting into marriage is like, it's a covenant, right? It's a covenant. So you have to be prepared to see the flaws, to see the weaknesses of the other person. Because you yourself, I myself, I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect.
But I think more about acceptance. You have to talk about it, negotiate. Because marriage is also it's a negotiation, you know. You cannot always say yes to everything because again, it's gonna be unbalanced, and then you're gonna become frustrated, and you're gonna think that the person is not listening to you. It's not really connecting with you. I think it's about being brave enough, bold enough to explain when you are not agree about something, kind of negotiate, you know. Even sometimes I remember in my case, and when I got married and we were moving to the house, you know, I remember I was not kind of moving anything in the house because I was waiting for him, you know. Think about it, you know. And I remember one time, listen to this. I was in with my mom, and I was so excited. Say, "Oh, Mom, let's move a little bit the furniture here and there." We did it. I wanted to surprise my ex-husband. You know what was the reaction? He was super upset. Okay. Why do I do that? You know, that my mom started like say, what happened here? We just want to surprise you, you know? So cultural differences, you know, way of living, acting, family, everything counts because for me, we're like, wow, I was not even thinking in that way. So you learn a lot through the process. I think acceptance, it is important, but being bold to speak, be brave to be who you really are, because again, two people with different backgrounds, values, education, families,
now living in one roof, under one roof.
That's right.
I mean, it's just like you're from totally different families, and now you're living together. So other than acceptance, which is, I think, is the foundation that everything will follow if you have that mindset. But acceptance at the same time, as Atala had said, is like negotiation, or you can set your expectations through communication.
Yes.
Because when you're like, just like what you said, he did not expect you to do,
he was like,
to move anything, and then you just did it, but there was no communication. He didn't tell you.
And for me, we're like, he's gonna be super happy. You know what? He's gonna be, wow.
Your intention was different, but then it turned out that
it was disappointed. He was disappointed. You know, we're like, oh my God, I mean, I need something here, you know?
Yeah, that is why communication is really very important, because once we fail, like for example, we expect from this person, right? And then if we don't meet that expectation, or they don't meet that expectation, then we look at them as they're short of our expectations. And that's when we start losing that, whatever the grit and the passion that you've first had in the relationship.
And I want to share another experience that I have. I remember, you know, like when my son was very little, like maybe 1 year old, as a Latin woman, we want to spend time with our kids because that's our priority, right? But then here, my husband was from the United States. So for him, was very important, like certain time, you know, the baby got to sleep, 7:30, 8 o'clock. And for me, it was like 8:30, you know, I want to be with my son. He was only 1 year old. So I have to really sometimes kind of learn that kind of, it was like adjusting myself to be a new mom, a wife, and at the same time create harmony. Believe me, sometimes it was a challenge for me. I couldn't understand,
Yeah.
but that's part of the process. You are learning about yourself, you are learning about the other person.
Yeah. So we actually have a question from Diego Macera. He says, what advice would you offer to a middle-aged divorced man seeking to find new love?
Okay, I will tell you. First of all, I would say love yourself. Start really looking at your strengths, your values, where you can actually kind of, it's a wake up call, I would tell you. When you start really knowing that who you are, start getting, practice some self compassion too, because many times people tend to criticize themselves a lot. And that's not allow you to really kind of see more opportunities. You have to heal. Healing is important. Never go to another relationship without healing, because it's very easy. Your pain is going to go everywhere. Once that you start practicing compassion, empathy, kindness, love, self-love, and actually, I will tell you, even gratitude, because that's coming from your heart. You need to heal in order to see other opportunities, in order for you to give yourself the permission to love again. But you must love yourself. Forgive yourself for whatever happened in the past, whatever you didn't do, whatever you didn't say, because it's evolution. And we all go through that process. I believe an emotional healing needs to take place in order to go forward with anything in life. Business, your career, the new relationship. Just that's one of the most important things that I would consider.
Yeah, and other on top of what Atala had said, I think what also you can do is try to think of what actually didn't work in this relationship. What didn't work? And then if you learn from what didn't work, then you are better prepared. Once you have healed from this relationship, then you will become better prepared for a new relationship. So healing comes first, and then learn from whatever mistakes, whatever misunderstandings, whatever happened in the relationship, learn from it. Because that's how we grow. Because even if, say, for example, you've healed and you already know and you're ready for a relationship, but we didn't learn from what experience we from the past, we're probably going to make the same mistake. So I think learning from whatever that didn't work from your relationship should help you and give you a better foundation for the next relationship that you're.
I like what you say.
And we're actually going to talk more about this in one of our upcoming episodes. So tune in with us again, because we're going to delve deeper into that relation, into divorce
too. Yes, we're going to have a special program that will really invite you to connect with us, because it's going to be, we're going to give tips, techniques, and especially opportunity to also express yourself, because I believe when we're going through divorce, it's necessary, to share with some people.
Yeah. Again, question for Atala: what is her ideal man? Come on, we're almost at the end of the show, so make sure that you post or give your answers in the comment.
And remember the question number 2: in what city did MJ met her husband?
Yeah, and for the winners, we will directly contact you, okay? So we're going to contact you directly once we have the winners. But so Atala, from this evening, what have we learned from each other?
I think that we all go through challenges, before marriage, during the marriage, that communication is important, acceptance is important, getting to know yourself is important. Be bold to speak out, never assume anything in life. And also get support, because don't put everything in just one person. Not your boyfriend, not your husband. Try to, have that kind of liaison where there are friends, family that can support you in time of need.
Yeah, and in a relationship, it doesn't mean when you go to a relationship that you're just going to sacrifice yourself. No, you have to keep, loving yourself. Because a lot of times too, when we go to a relationship, we just pour ourselves completely 110% to the person that we love, and we just forget about ourselves. So it's very important, because when things don't go the way that we want them to go, then we lose ourselves.
Yes,
Because
definitely.
yes, so it's very important. As we have said, self-love is not selfish. Self-love actually allows you to be even more loving to the people around you. Because how can you give love when you don't love yourself, right?
Yes, and that gives you energy, high level of energy, and you feel like you can achieve everything, and you feel more, people actually see you more attractive. So that's important too.
Yes. So in any kind of relationship, boyfriend, girlfriend, friends, family, relatives, children,
Co-workers,
co-workers,
you name it, we are, there is no, how can I say it, like, wherever we go, we build relationships, build the best ones, the healthy ones.
And there's no one like set manuscript for this. Because when you are building relationships, as you go through each and every relationship that you have in your life, there's gonna be challenges, there's gonna be troubles. So it changes, right? The manuscript changes. So you have to adapt. You have to be able to learn. You have to be able to actually treasure the good and the bad. Because the good makes you feel good, right? That's not what it is. But the bad, or whatever mistakes, failures, whatever challenges, they make you stronger.
And something else, I think sometimes you have to learn to refrain. Not everything is bad or good. It's the interpretation that you're giving to that event, to that situation. Sometimes it's good to reevaluate the definition that you're giving, because some of them, they have not been helping us. So it's okay to pause, find out the best interpretation that will encourage you, that will motivate you, and actually make you a better person, better human being for you, and for the next person that come into your life.
Yeah, so whether or not you're on that stage of your life where you're actually looking for the right girl or the right man, or whether or not you're in that stage of your life where actually you are getting closer to that very serious relationship, and that you are getting closer to marrying the person of your life, whether or not you're on that stage of your life where you already have gotten married and you already in that knowing your partner or your spouse more, whether or not you're on that stage of your life where you're just getting to love yourself too, then learn from every moment. Learn from all the people that come around your life and that you can come in contact with, because that's the only way we're going to learn about all these kinds of relationships, right?
Yes, I was sorry, MJ. I was just reading Marta. Marta has the question. Question number 1. This is the answer, actually.
Yeah, Velasquez de Prisco Marta. Yeah. For her answer for Atala's question, what's her ideal man, is a handsome man that respects her space and can communicate well and has kindness and love.
Very, very close, Marta. Very, very close,
Okay. And then
she said that Mandalungi
City. Yeah.
Yes, you got it, Delia. Yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
But I always say that, yes, it's pretty close where Marta says, because she know me from today.
Yeah.
Like, that's the characteristics for the man that I'm looking for today. Definitely.
Yes, I know. So again, for the winners, we have Marta and
hi, Lily. Thank you for connecting also. She's also from the group.
Yeah, Marta and Tita, what's her name? Delia, yes. Delia Ligot. She won also for the question for me. So we will contact you on how you're gonna get your prize.
There were more comments that we couldn't read from Marta. We are very happy that you connect with us today. We're gonna be looking forward to see you in the next episode next Monday.
Yes. And again, okay, you watch us live on YouTube, Facebook, and stream the Lawin Live. And if you miss our live show tonight, actually you can listen to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Podchaser, Deezer, Player Fun, and more.
Good Thoughts, Podcast Index also, Stitcher, of course, Pandora, Podcast Addict, and Pocket Cast.
Yes, and thank you again for watching us tonight, and watch us again next Monday, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Again, this is MJ
and Atala in
Be Bold.
Why Not?
Till next time.
See you. Have a wonderful evening.